call to order, please.
Chair Catherine Waldron,
Here.
Vice Chair Wayne Richards,
Here.
Secretary Treasurer Joseph Anderson,
Present.
Commissioner Blair Sickman, Commissioner Jean Enright, Executive Director Emmanuel Almira,
I'm here.
Court Counsel Gregory Pickett.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we'll be having another executive session today. Attendees will include Commissioners Sickman, Enright, Anderson, Richards, and myself, along with Executive Director Almira, Court Attorney Greg Picken, Court Attorney Don Picknell, and our court reporter Susan Kruger. So we will go there now and be back hopefully shortly. We're back, obviously. Does anybody have any additions, deletions, or changes to the agenda?
Madam Chair, we do not.
Does anybody want to make a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second. All in favor? Approval of the minutes?
So moved.
Second. All in favor? Do we have any presentations or announcements?
We do not, Madam Chair.
Okay, with the consent agenda, does anybody have anything that they want to pull out?
Ms. Howard, please confirm under H8, that's my 100 to Nelson.
I do want to pull out H7 just for a discussion. Can you do that? Do you have anything else?
Move to approve the consent minus H7.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? On H7, is there clear demarcation between what goes into business development, comes out of business development and community grants? Is there any, I feel like there's like been an issue recently about that. And
Commissioners, if you like, we can address that by going over the policy. That would mean, Jared, you can.
I don't want to, make it into a lengthy discussion, but
You shouldn't.
if there's something, if there's an issue, maybe we can talk about it. But if there's really not an issue and somebody just needs a little extra money, I think I could send some money to that person to take care of it, so it's not an issue.
What's the policy?
Commissioner, at this time, the only other fund other than business development that potentially this could be taken from is community grants. Although the community grants policy states that the organization has to be a 501c3, and this is a 501c4. So at this time, these tickets would be paid out of business development. These tickets historically in 2015 were also paid from business development.
Well, I know I'm getting a ticket out of my business development, so, League of Cities, right?
It is the Palm Beach County League of Cities, yes.
So if somebody, what I'm saying is if somebody doesn't have enough money in their business development, wants to go, I think I have enough money to cover that. That's appropriate, right? If it can't come out of community grants. Right?
I would ask Denise to speak to that. I don't have a record of your, are you talking about the $1,000 community
Yeah.
outreach pot?
I'm not sure if it's transferable or you say pay for someone else's ticket.
Yeah. Like if somebody doesn't have enough money to attend and they want to attend and I have enough money, I could switch to prevent me from paying for it, yes.
Madam Chair, in the past,
numbers guy, you should find that tickets were purchased from business development. Now, so I don't see what the big difference if it was done in the past and we had no problem. I mean, what's the difference now? I don't know if our new policy reflects that now, but that is what happened in the past, so. And that was with the League of Cities.
I'm in the dark, so.
There's a League of Cities event coming up. It's not a 501c3, so it can't come out of the community, it has to come out of business development.
But in the past, it came from.
Okay, but because it's not a 501c3, we cannot take it for $1,000 ticket pool, is that what I'm hearing?
No, you can't take it from community grants.
We have $1,000 for tickets. My question is, can I buy a ticket from the $1,000?
Yes.
Yes, Commissioner.
So why are we having a conversation?
Because if somebody doesn't have enough money in their business, left in business
Okay,
development.
so the next question is, are we able to, I don't think I've used most, are we able to, can we share it? But
I don't see a big deal.
Well, I guess my question is, I don't see the big problem because, the League of Cities, they're not going to have so many events we will be attending anyway. Most of us maybe just go to 1 or 2 a year. But at the end of the day, in the past, it was never addressed because business development always took care of it, so.
Well, did you want to say something?
Well, I wasn't, I'm not clear on the issue. Well, the main issue is the expenditure of public funds
Right.
for entities that endorse candidates. And if you,
But this is
They don't endorse, and also, in
And-
addition to
no,
them
I
not
don't know
endorsing,
that, but also
it is
they
nonpartisan. Because the
lobby
League of
time.
Cities, if you look at some of the council network, I mean, the Republican, Democrat, non-party. So they don't even deal with partisan issues at all. Mr. Penske can probably address to that, and, because he's
Well,
there at all.
I mean, but we all agree these tickets for League of Cities could come out of business development.
It hasn't, they have in the past.
So my question is, if somebody doesn't have the funds left in business development, what's
That's
preventing
where my
Business
me?
question-
development is not
That's
fun.
separate.
But it's $1,000, right?
No, it has nothing to do with
That's
the
a
that's my,
$1,000.
that was my,
Community
that was
center.
my question. What I was hearing here was, I know that, under community grants, individual commissioners have sort of an amount they all agree on.
Right.
But I was not aware that there was, business development
Well, then if there's no
individual.
business development thing, then what's?
But it's
then
not
everybody who wants
individual
to
by
go-
commissioner, I don't think, there is, there's no.
Then everybody who wants to go can go, right?
Really?
How much are the tickets first of all?
$75.
I think everybody's got at least $75.
That's
They
good.
go, some people already spent $1,000.
But the only thing I was saying is that I don't see the big rigmarole because in the past, if whoever attended and wanted to go, they just went from business development. So unless you want to cease allowing business development to pay for things for League of Cities, I mean, do you want us to just take it from the $1,000 and let it continue to come from business development like it has in the past?
It comes from
It
$1,000.
should, it's a ticket.
Okay.
And I don't know, if somebody doesn't have it, take it from me.
No.
Well, Madam Chair, can I play devil's advocate? Just as I came in on the latter part of Commissioner MacArthur's, where, you know, the pool wasn't reset, so any funds that have, would have been utilized during that time frame, I would have came in on,
Right.
you know, basically, so how is that handled?
Well, yeah,
Because this puts us almost in the same boat, because if a commissioner does not have
Sure.
enough funds, I
I
think.
usually have a full reset, I really do, I really do.
Yeah, I agree.
It's the reset, Joe.
It's not like it's.
Well, they can spend any money anyway.
He spent some, he spent some.
did?
But it's not his fault.
I know, but he spent enough.
Well, I think there's 2 issues now, so
I just threw that on
short
the table.
conversation is now.
Madam Chair, I'd be happy to bring both policies back next month for discussion if you'd like.
But in the meantime, look for the League of Cities, what can we do to ensure that people here who want to go can go?
I think I heard 3 commissioners say they're willing to share.
Okay, so then that takes care of that issue. And then if we can talk about the reset, I think we all agree it should come out of Commissioner Richards, right?
Commissioner Sickland, he's the one with all the money. He can pay for all.
But just to answer your question,
Yeah.
tickets should come from the $1,000 ticket. Let's not have a whole new exception list that we have to update monthly. Let's just keep a standard procedure.
The only reason why I mention it because of the way it was done in the past, that's all.
Oh, that's fair, that's fair.
Okay.
So, and then the next issue is, from Commissioner Anderson, is if we can set up a policy to have reset when a new commissioner comes in the middle at all. So he's-
I think it should be, Madam Chair.
Well, I think he's gonna weigh in on that.
If, with respect to the League of Cities, if I could respectfully request that if one of the commissioners wants to buy a ticket out of their fund and give it to another commissioner, that'd be fine. Transferring the funds, I think, should be addressed next, because right now we have
I
five
think it
separate
wasn't a
pools.
transfer, they were just gonna buy a ticket.
That'd be fine,
No.
because we have five separate funds. If you wanna put them all together, that's fine too, but
That's great.
We've purchased the tickets, is that correct?
Yes.
Tickets have been purchased.
Yes, they have. Whose fund will those two tickets come from?
Don't worry, I'll lend you some money from you.
No, Blair's rich. Blair's rich.
All right, thank you very much.
Blair's
Save
rich.
of mine.
Do,
If we can vote on that item separately, because we voted since it was pulled from consent.
yes, so the motion is, to allow people to buy tickets for each other. Right? And to reset, check into resetting the, when a new commissioner comes on.
I'll come back with that.
All right.
I'll second that motion.
All right, all in favor of the first one, then, all right. Okay.
Yes, Commissioner Richards, back to, if you don't mind, H8, actually Commissioner Anderson donated $100 to
I'm
Nelson.
at it. I'll let that, thank you for catching that. Thank you. That was part of the motion that was passed.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
my understanding is a roll call was not a call. I thought it was.
we needed a second roll call?
I did a roll call.
We did a roll call at the beginning.
Yeah.
Coming back from
Coming
the
back.
executive session.
Yes, we did the roll call, but coming
That's what I
back,
thought.
it's
Oh,
not
oh,
required.
the second one.
Yeah, it's not required.
She's the one that's asking.
No, I don't.
Let's do it.
No, there's
We
no.
never.
It's not required.
What good we have for?
It's not required.
Yes,
Second.
All right, executive director's report.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners on Environmental Concerns, on April 24th, 2019, Earth Systems provided the results of a material testing for the unknown substance affecting the Port of Palm Beach and surrounding properties. Earth Systems checked a number of sites and collected numerous surface samples affected by this unknown substance. The data obtained during the analysis indicated the following. The stains observed on the surface of the samples is consistent with plant sap, tree sap, and environmental dust. These results have been posted on our website. Just to give you a brief background, we started to receive phone calls from our neighbors saying that they, on yachts and other surfaces, these brown stains, yellow stains were appearing. Well, it turns out that our roof had the same stains. Immediately, the concern was it may be coming directly from the port. Well, as it turns out, it's not. So the port, any of the tenants inside the port were not responsible for these stains. Moving on to the Canadian Florida Trade Mission, the Puerto Rican Chamber of Palm Beach invited the Port of Palm Beach to host a group of 23 Canadian delegates who traveled through South Florida on May 1st through May 3rd. Their goal was to promote their service, products, and ideas to identify the facilities and business opportunities. The Port of Palm Beach was pleased to host one of their stops along the way on Friday, May 13th. Approximately 50 guests attended, including the Canadian Trade Commissioner, Margaret Cullen. Welcoming remarks were given by Mayor Felder of Riviera Beach and Mayor James of West Palm Beach and our own Commissioner Enright. Gary Hines of the Business Development Board made a presentation on Palm Beach County opportunities. Lunch was provided on board the grand celebration. It was co-hosted by the Port and Bahamas Paradise. Moving on, Commissioners, unless there's any questions, tariff kickoff meeting, Port staff held its initial tariff 2019-2020 discussion. We plan on having 2 additional internal meetings and then hold our annual discussion with tenants in the month of June and July. Our goal is to put a new tariff in place with an effective date of October 1st, 2019. Just recently, we met with FAU staff, that was the day before yesterday. The meeting was held here at the Port between Port staff, County Airport staff, and FAU department heads. The purpose of the meeting was to allow FAU to present various high technology items and products that they are developing so that Port's application could be further explored. It was actually very instructive and a productive meeting. We plan to meet again to further discuss some of these products that they are working on. The meeting was organized by Felicia Goldstein, one of the aides of Congresswoman Frankel's office, which we thank her very, very much for coordinating the meeting and thinking of us. Lastly, Commissioners, the City of Rivera Beach approved the sign that you're seeing on your screens through a resolution on April the 17th, 2019. So we're happy to report that a permit has been given, and very soon you'll have that sign painted on our wall down near the Southgate entrance. Moving on, Commissioners, as far as Port Councils and AAPA events, on May 30th in Coral Gables, there will be the Florida International Trade and Investment Conference. Florida Natural Gas Association in 2019 will have a symposium June 24th and 25th up in Kissimmee, Florida. And then, of course, the Florida Ports Council is scheduled to have their summer board meeting June 11th in Tampa. The AAPA front, there's a special seminar for members of the Port Authority governing boards and commissioners. That will be on June 18th through the 20th, San Francisco, California. And as a reminder, Commissioners, I will be out from May 24th and returning to the Fort on June 4th, visiting our daughter. Are there any questions? If not, then we move on to engineering. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Let's start off my engineering report. I will go briefly over the Versamentine project. The only item that's still not completed physically in the project is the installation of the LED lightings on the poles at Southgate. Based on the meeting that we had yesterday, they informed us that it's going to be done on Friday, meaning tomorrow. So, we know how it goes. So. Moving on with MOB. The contractor continue is 90% completed the storm system within the 3-acre MOB area. Also, they have 95 completion of all the electrical underground system. The relocation of the overhead lines started by the subcontractor hired by FPNL. It started 2 days ago. It will take them probably from 6 to 8 weeks to complete. Once the new line is in place, they will be able to remove the existing overhead lines, and the existing poles will be removed once all the additional vendors like AT&T, Comcast remove their lines also and install them in the underground system that is included in the MOB project. The contractor also started with the preparation for final pavement. All the areas that are hatching here are already being compacted and almost to the final elevation based on the drawings. There's a few ground photos. These are new catch basins that are waiting for the last slab to be cast. Structures from the electrical work, as well as the underground storm system, doing on the water system with new fire hydrants. Based on the schedule submitted by the contractor, the activities that have been performed right now are the same ones that were included in the original baseline for the schedule, so they're on time. And the last update shows that the project will be completed by the 16th of September, which is 7 days prior to the contractual date. So far, MOB is moving forward smoothly. Any questions related to MOB? So moving on with the Berth 1 Paul Heckler construction project. The relocation of corals was completed this week. The all-woman diving team removed all the corals located in the wall. They're gonna come in next week on Monday to do a final revision of the area, but they will be starting the zero-time monitoring that is required by the permit. They will be doing monitoring on the first 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, and 3 years to make sure that the relocation to the nursery at least get a 50% survival rate that is expected. There's a photo of one of the corals that have been relocated to the nursery of the town of Palm Beach. In terms of the project, I have the building permit with the day of today. That was the last meeting that I have at the city. Even though we submitted all the information 2 months ago, the only process that is being taken care right now is that they have to go through each one of the departments to stamp and seal the physical documents. There was only one signature missing as of today before the meeting. It was for the utilities office. And I was told he's gonna get it today, so if the permit is issued today, or hopefully we get it by hand tomorrow, the construction will start next week. The notice to proceed will be issued. Right now we have the date of May 22nd, which is on Wednesday. And based on that date, the contractual time for completion is 180 days. The substantial completion should be achieved by November the 18th. And final completion by December the 8th. Those days are good based on the agreement that we have with the tenant that is going to be using Berth 1. So we don't see any complications unless something extraordinary happens to complete the project prior to the tenant coming back to the Berth 1 location. Any questions related to Berth 1?
No, thank you.
Chair?
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Maybe would you update us on the meeting you and I had with the councilman about the APDOT? I don't think we're on the north date. We're planning to have the city should have the second and final reading. That's something we're going to keep on the agenda so we don't forget. But you recall the date he gave us?
He did not provide us a date, but he did mention that he was going to proceed and ask Deidre Jacobs, correct. No, I had called.
Okay.
I will admit, I only called it once and never received a.
Let's follow up. We're keeping the pressure on to get the APDOT.
Absolutely, and for the annex,
Yeah.
and anything else. I mean, any other projects that are pending.
You're going to be out? You're going to have somebody else call while you're out?
Yeah, well, I'm here until next Thursday. If that, I can't get a hold of it, I'll send something.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Madam Chair, are we still having the issue with occupational license for Stone Rock? Has that been rectified?
That's another.
That's one of the others.
Yes.
Okay. What are we spending currently with that?
As far as Stone Rock has let us know that he will not do anything else. He feels that he has completed all of the requested steps. And last we heard from the city's attorney, I forgot her name, but she requested a site plan. And he has said, absolutely not. I'm part of the port. Why should I be spending any money, time, and effort? You have what he has to be meeting the city. So all along, what we've done is we have been waiting for the new manager to come on board and then have a sit down, he and I, or she and I, and then go over not only Stone Rock, but any other issues that is outstanding. Now, like you said, and like Councilman Lawson said, when that new person comes in, they're going to be bombarded with issues. unfortunately, that's what we are. We're gonna have to take a number.
Well, his point was we should wait.
Yeah, I think you can reach out to, even though she's an interim, I think she's amenable, and this is a whole new council, so this is a new day.
I fully
so,
agree.
Yeah.
Fully agree. No, I have, as I mentioned, but I did it only once, and I have not received any return information. By the way, there's also something else. Mayor Felder has requested a tour of Peanut Island, which I went back and said what days, and I still have not received a date. So that would also be in the agenda or the topics among the topics that we will be discussing. So I'll reach out for Peter again.
Perfect, thank you.
Have you had a chance to talk to anyone concerning I guess, the reception to get together of joining us? Because it
Well,
was mentioned at last week.
Right, that's another topic. I wanted to offer them the ability to sit down. In fact, when Councilman Lawson was here, I brought that to his attention. The goal is to have both
So I guess
elected officials.
when you talk to
That is correct.
the interim city manager, you
Yes,
can also
ma'am.
mention that.
Commissioner comments, do you have any?
Yes, I have some comments. First of all, I definitely like to thank the staff, Alan, Kelvin, and Kate Hearns, as well as Paul Zelinsky for taking time out with me, just going over some fine details and bringing me up to speed. Also, I attended the TPA meeting, and Brightline was discussed, and Nick is going to reach out. I don't know if we had any concerns, whether or not we have with the delay of trains changing tracks or anything, because I know it gets a little bit congested on 13th and Blue Heron, so he's going to reach out to see if we have any concerns for the Brightline. Also, what reared its head was Inland Port. That was a discussion that came out with the mayor, Belgrade, as well as the, I can't think of the individuals out of the commissioner out of Jupiter, but that was thrown in the mix. I don't know where we are, if that will be revitalized or revisited. The current, I guess they're looking at projects, and they mentioned US 27 and things of that sort. But I'll be reaching out to you as well as meeting with staff to see, once that happens again, what can I provide to TPA, as well as what direction or what are our thoughts. So that's it, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, I'm sorry. I'm not on any committees, but Jeff Green called and wanted to visit Peanut Island. He was interested in.
Jeff Green, the city manager of West Palm Valley.
No, Jeff Green, the billionaire.
He wants to visit Peanut Island?
Right, and what happened was Ken and myself, and then Commissioner Anderson and two of our other men, maintenance, we gave him a tour of Peanut Island. He said he was interested, and we told him where we were. Mr. Hearn did a good job of giving him a tour and also telling him where we were with the county as far as Peanut Island. And we just told him if he had any suggestions or whatever, just bring it to the board. You know, he just wanted to just see what it looked like, and maybe he was throwing some ideas in his head. So we have no idea where he's going, where he's coming from, and what he would like to do. But like Ken Hearn said, we're always happy to show Peanut Island. And if we have other people with good ideas who want to address the board, they can do anything they want to. But, you know, I don't know, I
So
haven't
what were
heard
his
anything.
ideas?
I haven't heard anything. But, Mr. Hearn, you want to talk and say something?
It was actually just a tour. He was kind of throwing out a couple ideas in relation to restaurants, things of that nature. He didn't really nail down any specific idea. Again, he was just, you know, pitching them out to see what spiked interest. Again, we just explained to him there that we do have a Peanut Island committee that's currently reviewing discussions with the county, and that he should be reaching out to let you guys know his ideas to see if there was anything that needed to be brought forward or any direction given by our board to assist us in going in the right direction.
We also told him that we're open to any ideas, and he would just have to bring them to us. In addition to that, we also mentioned that if he just wanted to be a good Samaritan for the county and do something for the citizens, since he talked about Peanut Island so much, you can just throw $4 million in the pot and just get us all together, and then the committee or whatever, where we are, will continue. So we just waiting to hear. I mean, he just looked at us, you know what I mean?
I asked
You
him
know,
to write a check 3 times.
Right, for $4 million. But, so we'll see what happens. So, but he knows before he has an idea of what we plan to do, and that we're working with the county. So if he wants to intervene and present something, feel free. We're always welcome to ideas.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Further to that information, May 29th, I believe, is our next meeting. We're still waiting for any documentation from the city. That is a proposal, and there's still city, county, they're working on it. I spoke with Karen Marcus yesterday. She had asked me if, in fact, we have received any information, and I told her no. So it appears that the next meeting, again, May 29th, is basically, here's a documentation, if it's ready, for us just to review it. So that's by way of an update. I will not be there, but I'll be well represented with Ken Hurd.
Okay, great, thanks. I don't have any comments, Commissioner Richards, sick leave.
Aren't we on, did we review?
We're on Commissioner comments.
J1, we review that?
We're on I3. We haven't gotten to government.
Oh, we're still in, oh, no.
All right, Mr. Pinsky.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, Richard Pinsky, and I bring you news that we're all safe once again. The Florida legislature has signed dies, but they can't do anything to us anymore. Before I answer any questions and go over some of the highlights, I did want to comment on Commissioner Anderson's question on the Stone Rock issue, and I think Director Almira touched on it, and that is, you will find at the heart of the issue will be who has jurisdiction and sovereign ability to govern themselves. So the Port believes, both through its charter and statute, that if it's on Port property, there are some things that the city just cannot permit or touch. The city will believe and proffer that because the Port is in Riviera Beach, it has regulatory jurisdiction. So that, I think you're going to find, is the heart of the issue, is who's actually in charge of resolving those issues. So the budget had a couple of items in it, which I know was of interest to some of the commissioners. It's in the report. Port Canaveral did get some money. Port Manatee did get some money. And in the past, and I think Commissioner Sickland has raised it, that it happened the year before, and it happened the year before, and we said as a commission, you expressed that if this continues, and every year there seems to be an exception, but it won't happen again, that the Port of Palm Beach would feel no obligation to continue to live within the confines of a good actor within the Florida Ports Council. So this year, the exceptions seem to surround the items were not technically in the transportation budget. So that's why the Ports Council didn't mind them going on. So should there be items, for instance, Jose just went over, I think Director Jose just went over some infrastructure water projects. That could be an outside of FSTED request that you are doing a water infrastructure project for the port and get separate funding for that. Should there be any other activities that you may want to do, there may be a creative way of just getting it outside of the transportation silo and do it as a regular appropriation request. And based on what happened this session, I suppose the Florida Ports Council would not mind us doing our own funding requests. So our prohibition of asking for separate money may be lifted. If you have any other questions over items, to the other point on the inland port, there is an item that the governor has not signed the bill yet, but there was a new toll road legislation that was passed and had a price tag of approximately $30 million, or $75 million for studies of 3 new toll roads in the state of Florida. One taking from Southwest Florida connecting to the Suncoast Parkway, one is extending the Suncoast Parkway, and the other is extending the Florida Turnpike, basically almost to Tallahassee. There was an amendment and discussion that would have included State Road 27 for the purpose of relieving traffic, both rail and car, and particularly truck, off of I-95. As you know, the 3 MPOs in the past, as well as the 3 counties, Dade, Broward, Palm Beach, have long held to get freight and commercial traffic off of the Florida East Coast Railroad, which is now Brightline. I think FEC Railroad said they could move 8 trains immediately if, in fact, there was a rail corridor on 27, as well as I-95 expansion capability just not happening. So how do you get the trucks into the middle of the state on 27? So that amendment was not accepted, even though the studies have been done. Representative Matt Wilhite, who chairs the Palm Beach County delegation, actually brought the FDOT studies, of which the Port of Palm Beach got $1 million for to conduct those studies some years ago, and wouldn't be part of the appropriation, just include us in the future should the Department of Transportation put money in new roads. So that was rejected. Now, I don't know what will happen in the future. The 3 counties really didn't push it too hard, but any logistics or movement of cargo out of Port Miami or Port of Palm Beach is not really going to happen effectively until the road is widened or they put rail on 27. Something has to happen to get freight into the Glades area. So. Anyway, the governor has not signed that yet. He is going to sign the texting while driving bill on Friday, so no more texting while driving. Start practicing, and that'll be signed in Sarasota on Friday. I don't think we'll be ready next month, maybe July. Certainly by September we will have some recommendations on possible legislative activity. It may include projects, capital projects. It may include some submerged land issues, which may save port some money. So there's a few things that Director Almir and I are discussing that we're going to now meet with staff and expand. So if you have any ideas, want to amend your charter, just kidding, but we're open for those suggestions. But over that will be our summer vacation. Even though Director Almir is going away, he'll be back. Happy to answer any questions.
I just want to know, have you whispered or mentioned Cuba?
The question was, what about this new governor's policy on Cuba? Great question. There is no policy from this new governor. He's gotten high marks. A lot of people were surprised at just how well he was received this session. The rumor, unlike President Trump, who we don't know where he stands on it. The rumor is Governor DeSantis is waiting for clear direction from the president on just what is going to happen with Cuba. Does not seem to be a focus with the current administration in Washington. It's got a few other things like Iran to go to front burner right now, but the governor's staff has been inquiring. The issue of cruise ships, etc., greater trade with Cuba has come up, but there's no direction. They've not made any policy. Matter of fact, Department of Transportation, Economic Opportunity, they're all just fighting for their lives. Ken Lawson was confirmed, and they only got $40 million. So there's sort of holding pattern until this budget got passed. And so now I think we'll see what comes out in the agency recommendations. Great question. Don't have an answer yet.
Anyone else?
Thank
you very much, Mr. Kapinski. Yes.
I can add a couple things about Cuba. My opinion is, for the next 2 years, the chances of the United States expanding any kind of relationship with Cuba are very little. In fact, it seems to be going the other way.
Yeah, I thought they just passed something about remittances.
That's one. And second, there's also now, under the Helms-Burton law,
Right.
that now enforces the following. If you are a Cuban American and can prove that your land was seized under the Castro revolution, you can, as a Cuban American, sue the American companies that are using your land. Immediately, there was 2 lawsuits that came up. The use of a terminal in Santiago de Cuba by Carnival Cruise Line, that's in the courts right now. So don't think and don't believe that things are going to, the relationship between the United States, particularly with this president, is ever going to improve. Coupled with that is, of course, the issue of Venezuela. Venezuela, as most of us know, provided petroleum, oil to Cuba. That has stopped. In fact, part of the deal was they would sell the petroleum, I believe, at a 2% below world prices, so that Cuba would then take the total amount, divide that into half, and sell the other half in the world, so they can then go ahead, produce revenue, and purchase the chickens and a lot of other different things here from the United States. Again, notice what I said, that had stopped, and the Cuban citizens that live there are now feeling it. In fact, it was last Sunday when the Cuban government made an announcement that rationing of chicken and other foods, that in turn has put a tremendous pressure on Cuban Americans in South Florida to provide them with the needed supplies to live, basically. So those are my 2 cents of this issue with
It's a
you.
bad situation.
It's getting worse.
Thank you. I think we're up to old business, part 1.
Commissioners, agenda item G1 is authorization to issue a purchase order for the Berth 1 mining fenders. Berth 1 required 14 fenders, for which the board went out and advertised for RFP. The proposal we received on May 6th, 4 manufacturer companies submitted proposals. The proposals were scored based on the scoring criteria provided by the board, in which the highest scorer was Trelleborg Marine, with basically their number is $130,000 plus $6,000 that we require for testing to be provided to us in order to make sure that the fenders meet the requirements in terms of structural design. The Kimberly Horner, engineer of record for the project, did the evaluation of the technical review and will not preclude they recommend that we can issue the purchase order to Trelleborg for the materials of the fenders in the amount of $118,000 and $890.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Any
Question,
discussion?
question. The company that was, Robert, did you look at, I guess, Mr. Long, I guess Kimberly Horn had an opportunity to take a good look at them, they've done this kind of work before, and this is, therefore, we just didn't select them because they were the lowest bidder.
Right.
So, what?
This is Casey Long with Kinley Horn.
Right, I just asked that because the lowest bidder is like.
Understood. Now, Trelleborg is one of the leading makers of fenders. They originally were part of Seaward, which was one of the founding members of foam fill fenders, so they've become some of the technical norms in the industry. It is a quality fender and one of the people we tend to look towards.
And the price is in line, it's
Yes,
not.
ma'am. It's in line with a lot of the quotes you've been getting on individual purchases, as well as in line with everybody else that did the job. A lot of the differences in price had to do with the hardware, not the fender, or the shipping costs. So they came in competitive because they're being on the East Coast on their shipping component, but they also, with their hardware, seem to be a little bit more competitive than the others, meaning the chains and the bolts and the connection pieces.
In case, Madam
Any
Chair, in case it wasn't specified, they are made here in the United States. So this tariff with the Chinese goods doesn't apply.
Any further discussion? All in favor? There's no new business. Do not have any comments from the public. Does anybody on the board have any further comments? Yes.
Madam Chair?
I'm sorry, prior to setting I apologize for jumping in, but prior to setting the next meeting, I'd like to ask for an executive session to begin at the beginning of next regular board meeting. And in attendance would be Donald Bicknell, Gregory Picken, and Rob Wilkins, and Joseph Foster. Thank you.
Do we need a motion for that? No. Yes?
No.
Okay, but thanks, I forgot.
Next meeting date is scheduled for an AAPA. I will be at the AAPA.
Not San Francisco?
Yeah.
So do we want to move it?
Don't have to, but just be advised. I'd like to get a meeting if possible. Court meeting.
You coming and going?
Oh, it's right in the middle. It's that way, it's.
Do you want to try the 17th then? Monday? Where do you go? Where do you leave?
It runs from the 17th to the 20th.
Do you want to do it
I will have to do it on Tuesday.
on the following week?
I'll have to do it on Tuesday.
The following.
Yeah.
So does anybody have a problem with the 25th or 27th of June?
27th is good.
It's okay with me, whatever.
All right.
I don't care.
Okay, so we'll do the 27th.
So if someone wants to go, they can, yeah.
Okay, so we'll move it to the 27th. Those are Commissioner Richards.
Following meeting, as far as agenda items.
Same time I can do, so the 27th is fine.
Anything else? Yes.
Yes, under comments, I just would like, I always appreciate the help that staff has given me, but last month I had a huge problem with some of the chamber events, and Denise really stepped up, and she came and helped me out in a great way. I want to personally thank her for that, because things got messed up. It was my fault, and she made things right for me, so I just want to personally thank her for helping me out and getting things squared away. So,
I'd like to chime in on that too, because I'm not the best person with the expense report and keeping track of my receipts. And she helps me struggle through it, so thanks a lot for going above and beyond all the time. Appreciate it.
I just have I'm gonna get Commissioner comments.
Yes, we will.
Mr. Mayor, when do you normally have your evaluations of your staff?
Staff?
Staff evaluations. Because you
Usually-
mentioned it to me the other day, and you said you have staff evaluations. What is that, after your evaluations, and you have an instrument? How do you do that? I'm just curious.
Staff evaluation is usually done every year, and what I instituted this year is at the 6-month level, which is coming up in July timeframe. I will be sitting with all my direct reports, just let them know, plot out where we are for the rest of the year, what's working, what isn't working.
And
So
you
we're
did that
looking
last
at-
year, you have an instrument. You did that last year, you have an instrument for each staff member that you evaluate them by?
If in fact there was something to be worked on, yes.
But you've never had an instrument that you evaluated each staff member by in the past?
We have goals and objectives. We have gone over these goals and objectives, and again, in the month of late June, early July, I will be sitting with each of the direct reports and sort of go over, it's a halfway point. Let's see what we have for the rest of the year.
I understand, but my question is, last year, you took the instrument and you evaluated each staff member with your instrument?
That is correct,
You've
yeah.
done that every year since you've been here?
No, not every year, but it has been enough that we're so small and we know what.
I understand.
Exactly, so to have it sometimes, it's needed, most of the time it's not.
Okay, I just wondered. Thank
Sure.
you.
You're welcome.
Anything else? Meeting's adjourned. Thank you.
Okay, Denise, next